In this bulletin, double digits continue for COVID-19 infections. COVID response changes for Central Division. And don't believe false prophets. And Rugby Fiji. The Health Ministry has announced 35 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday. Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong, who is in quarantine, says this is the latest from the record-breaking surge over the past few days. 5 cases are linked to the incident management team, 18 are from the CWM cluster, 1 from Navy, 1 from Nawaka Nandi, and 1 case is linked to the Thombati cluster. 9 cases are currently under investigation. Cases under investigation include 2 from Lami, 2 from Valilevu, 2 in Korniwia Nosori, and 1 case from Turek Suba. Dr. Fong says the latest daily case numbers are unsettling news for many, and they should be, as this is a highly transmissible and deadly disease.
There has never been a higher level of risk in the Lami Nosori containment area than today. Everyone knows it, and everyone must act accordingly through the good health practices we have advocated from day one of this outbreak.
The Health Ministry has warned that while the Central Division is seeing the biggest spike in case numbers, we could see severe outbreaks in many other parts of Fiji if we are not careful. PS for Health Dr. James Fong says they've previously employed mobile screening teams to great effect, but the scale of the outbreak now requires a different approach, which is part of the mitigation phase. If individuals test positive, they will be placed under home isolation, with groceries and essential household items provided. If they develop a severe illness, they will be transported to a hospital.
Please know this, we are guided by 2 objectives. Keep already infectious and potentially infectious people safely away from the public, and provide life-saving care to those who do develop a severe case of COVID-19. We will now be maintaining our stationary screening clinics and saving our mobile teams to do contact tracing, screen in areas of concern, and deploy it to homes that report individuals with COVID-like symptoms.
Dr. Fong adds it is extremely important that people understand the need to carefully manage movement from contained areas to uncontained areas. The PS says they sympathize with people's need to relocate, and they are working hard to develop protocols that can allow movement without risking further transmission of the virus. The Ministry of Health is calling on Fijians to not listen to false prophets and pseudo-experts who say that COVID-19 cannot harm them. Dr. James Fong says that false prophets are lying and information shared by them will lead at-risk Fijians into intensive care units. Dr. Fong says this can lead to the worst-case scenario, which is death. He adds there is nothing encouraging about the low numbers of severe disease and death recorded so far.
While we continue to publish the location of new clusters, no one should base their adherence or lack of adherence on whether they are near a cluster or a red zone or whether they're in a green zone. We are dealing with community transmission. That means the exact source of every case is not known. The person sitting next to you could have COVID. The person you speak to could have COVID.
Precautions are being taken to protect the Health Ministry's field hospital in Suba from any exposure to COVID-19. The FEMAT facility at the Vodafone Arena in Lothala Bay is now the hub for medical services in the Lami Nosori corridor. However, senior ministry officials have advised that FEMAT can only cater for so many patients. This field hospital can admit 50 patients at any one time, with another 15 beds available at the Tamawua Terme Hospital.
Obviously, it's not perfect, not exactly what we would have had if we had CWM up and running. But this is the capacity that we have right now.
The COVID-19 vaccine is Fiji's path out of the pandemic, says the PS for Health Dr. James Fong. Dr. Fong says through safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine, many Fijians can be protected. He says more than 225,000 have already received at least 1 dose and is urging Fijians to get their first jab. Dr. Fong is reminding the public to register before going to vaccination sites that will guarantee quick services by health officials. He says Fiji must support this initiative in a bid to contain the spread of COVID-19.
We need everyone who has received 1 dose to receive the 2nd dose when it is due. That is our best possible defense against the wave of hospitalizations and even deaths that could be headed our way. Please register to be vaccinated.
The 5 positive COVID-19 cases in the Naitasiri province has prompted nearby villages to strengthen their lockdown protocols. Viria village border control head Waisevi Kaitonga says due to the surge in cases around the country, they are now strictly monitoring the movement of all villages. The Kaitonga says strengthening security, surveillance and ensuring no visitors enter the village remains a priority.
We have teams scheduled to man our checkpoints for 6 hours and they rotate. This is to ensure that our village is safe from the virus that is now beginning to enter our province. We encourage those that go to the Sawani border to be careful. This is also a main area that we are looking at.
The government's vision to supply 100% of energy from renewable sources by 2036 is coming to fruition. Prime Minister Mornngs Marama yesterday signed an agreement on the sale of 44% shares of Energy Fiji Limited to Seven Pacific Limited. The Prime Minister says the aim had always been to secure a strategic investor in EFL who would align Fiji's energy sector to international best practices. Sevens is a joint venture company established in Singapore, comprising of a partnership between the Japanese company Jukoku Electric Power Company Limited and the Japan Bank of International Cooperation.
Now, with Jukoku, EFL will be further strengthening their operations and undertaking projects that will significantly expand their renewable energy sources to communities all over Fiji.
You should also realize that whilst EFL has already been run really well in terms of governance structures, in terms of its financial capacity and accountability, with the partnership now with Sevens, there is enormous opportunity for the new EFL to venture into investment opportunities outside of Fiji too.
The government will remain the majority shareholder, owning 51%, while 44% will be owned by Sevens and 5% by Fijian domestic account holders. Up ahead, Fijian are ready for task. Welcome back. Playing against the two best teams in the women's sevens rugby, Australia and New Zealand is critical for the Fijian sevens team on course to the Tokyo, Japan Olympic Games. Fijiana will go against the two powerhouses in the upcoming Oceania Sevens tournaments from the 25th to the 27th of this month. Head coach Sayasi Fuli says playing against Australia and New Zealand will boost their performance.
We have to execute what we have been doing. It will help the management, especially the coaches and myself, to gauge the individual players' performances in units and how we can balance and select the right combination going towards the Tokyo Olympics.
The name Josh Thompson will be synonymous on the National Rugby League stage in the near future. That is Thompson's goal as he prepares for the Jersey Flag competition. Thompson, who is the first cousin of former Parramatta superstar Jared Hayne, was part of the Knights under-21 team before joining the Raiders last year. Thompson made debut for his new club, Roosters, over the weekend. Taking the field for the first time is one of the pinnacle moments for Thompson after leaving Fiji at the age of 16 to pursue his rugby league career.
Oh, that is a very good experience to be in a club like the Roosters. Very different environment, very professional, and training was a blessing. And it was a very good experience to run with some of the really good players around Sydney.
Fine weather will prevail over most parts of the country today. There is a slight chance of scattered showers in the eastern and northern parts of the country. That's FBC Morning News. Remember, join us at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. For news you can trust, get the facts from FBC's TV, radio, and digital news at fbcnews.com.fj. Take care and good morning.